Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
We got a little bit of NXT Takeover in your house to preview, so we're going to be talking about quite an NXT heavy show this week, and then when we get time, after all of that is said and done, we'll slide in a little bit of Raw and SmackDown at the end. But first off, let's look at Takeover. We got 5 sets of titles on the line in 4 matches. And then an additional singles match. So let's start off with a little odd one out here. Mercedes Martinez going up against Xia Li, and that whole sort of Tian Sha group.
This should be interesting. I've loved what they've been doing with Xia Li. So I'm interested in seeing where they go with this. I kind of want them to force Mercedes Martinez to join Xia Li. Then we have a tag team for the non-existent tag team division.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's hard with this. Like, I don't know where Tian Sha in general is going. With where their leader is heading. Are they going to step in the ring? Are they going to stay being the supernatural force? Boa's been hanging around, but he hasn't actually done a whole lot. I don't think Boa's had a match since the sort of hardening up camps that they had. So you just don't know where things are going to be heading with these guys. Which, you know, as you said, or as you alluded to, both Mercedes and Xia Li are, how do I phrase this? Bad butt kickers. That was my nice, censored on the flyway. But yeah, I think anything can happen. This is the match that I'm probably least certain on an outcome of, just because things are so open. You know, this feud's just sort of starting to boil to the surface now.
Yeah, so we'll see where they go here. But I definitely think this would make a great... I think they would make a great team if they were to pair together.
It is definitely an option. And as those are the only titles not on the line, could be a possibility for a future title match if they need to find one. Let's stick with the woman for now. Let's talk about the NXT Women's Championship. Champion Raquel Gonzalez has to defend against Ember Moon.
I'll say this will be an interesting match. I do think Raquel retains, but I don't know to the extent of what kind of retention is going to be. And I think there may be some splits beginning to form here after this match.
No. Which side?
I think it may turn Dakota face.
But...
And then she'll get a title match with Raquel.
Yeah, but then you're going to tell me she's going to lose. You're not allowed to set me up and give me all of this stuff just to follow it up with, and then she'll lose.
Well, it may not be like in the next month or two. That's the thing. It may just begin the cracks and not an actual turn.
Can she win?
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay.
It'll be like depending on when it happens. If it happened next week, there would be no chance. But if it happened in a couple of months after Raquel's had a decent run, all bets are off.
Okay. As long as we're talking about a possibility where Dakota Kai could be the NXT Women's Champion, then I'm okay. Then I'm okay with it. But yeah, I don't see Ember Moon taking the title. As you say, Raquel Gonzalez is still pretty fresh and new as the champion. Typically, NXT champions hold them for a little while. Just don't see her dropping it at the moment. Ember doesn't need it. But it should still be a banger match between the two of them.
Especially the women. The women seem to have the titles twice as longer as they actually should.
Yeah, that's a fair statement, I think. And then, well, how about we talk about the men then, hey? We'll talk about both the tag team champions and the North American champion, because both of them are pretty new. Bronson Reed just recently capturing the North American title, and MSK just recently capturing the tag team titles. Going to be going up against Legado del Fantasma in a 6-man tag team match where the winner will take all.
This should be a crazy match. I expect, though, the match to end with the Colossal. I think Bronson Reed wins the match here for his team, and the tag team champions and the North American champions will retain, and that will end the feud of MSK versus Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah, I think that NXT division at the moment is quite chock-a-block with tag teams and stuff, so letting them finish that up and roll on, probably a good idea.
And it gives Bronson a successful retention of his title, and we can move on in that direction too.
Yeah, he's seemingly moved on from a few things that he had around him. LA Knight, he sort of moved on from. Johnny Gargano moved onwards as well. So with Santos Escobar being the next person to stand up to the Colossal, we'll see if he can quickly knock him down. But I definitely agree, and I don't see all three titles changing hands. Even though Santos just lost the Cruiserweight title, I don't see him picking up the North American here. I think it's just way too early for the three champions heading into this one to be losing their belts.
Yeah, I would be more likely to have believed the tag team's champions because they won them, at WrestleMania week?
2 months, I think.
Yeah, so it's more believable the tag team championships would change hands. But Bronson's only had it a month. That, although I will say, with that in mind, Johnny Gargano's one of his title reigns did last less than a month, so anything is possible.
Yeah, it is always possible as an option, but hopefully it's not what happens, and hopefully Bronson Reed can keep running with that title. It's been a long time coming, and to finally capture that title, I think is a good thing for him, and I want to see what he can pull off with it, so let's not rip it away from him just yet.
Yep.
Let's talk about the match that you probably really don't want to talk about, purely because there was one thing you asked for last week, one thing you begged the wrestling gods for, and unfortunately, they gave you the exact opposite of that, and they brought back the thing you didn't want them to.
Yeah, but I still, it's all right. The $1 Million Championship is what it is. I do think that the outcome of this match, neither Grimes or Knight will be walking away with the title.
Okay, do tell.
Well, who else would walk away with the title? It's going to be Ted DiBiase. Everybody's got a price, baby.
Yeah, I guess I could see it.
If you had held a gun to my head and I had to pick one of them to actually walk away with the title, I'm picking LA Knight.
Okay.
Because I think it will drive Grimes crazy, and it would be appropriate to the storyline.
Yeah.
Because everything Grimes has attempted to do has gotten one-upped by the $1 Million Man. So why not one-up it with the $1 Million Championship going to LA Knight?
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I feel like as much as it's funny to see him lose, I kind of want to see Grimes just win once, But I could see this match going either way, in terms of Grimes or Knight. I don't have too much of a horse either way. The ladder match stipulation should add to the excitement. I think these two guys can put on great matches. And so it should be interesting to see what they can pull off in a ladder match. And ultimately should be a fun little one, but I imagine it's going to be pretty comedy heavy. Given Grimes is in there, given it's for the $1 Million title, given the feud that's been leading into it, it just seems like that's the way it would be heading, and there's nothing wrong with that either. It should be interesting to see what they manage to pull off. Let's go with the main event, the Fatal 5-Way match for the NXT Championship. Karrion Kross, brand new champion again. We keep talking about these brand new champions here. Defending his title against Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano and Pete Dunne.
I think it's Kyle O'Reilly's time.
You think title change?
I think title change. The main championship is the one title that I could see changing hands every couple months. and then not be a big deal.
Okay.
So yeah, this is one where I'm like, all right, I'm not sure who's going to win. I could see Karrion Kross easily retaining, but then the question then becomes, who can take Karrion Kross down if all four of these people couldn't beat him? That's where I'm concerned on that end. And having a Fatal 5-Way here allows some shenanigans to take Karrion Kross out of the equation so he doesn't directly lose the title.
That is true.
So I think this is the moment for Kyle O'Reilly. He wins the title here. We get a match with Adam Cole just to finish that feud off for the title. And then Gargano goes somewhere not related to a title. Whether it's back to the way or a lateral movement to Raw or SmackDown. And then I guess Pete Dunne goes back to UK because I don't know what to do with him at this point.
Yeah, it's the only kind of problem, right, is that they took all four of the serious contenders and just sort of threw them into the match. So it does start raising questions about a title change. You might be swaying me. I like your funny words, Magic Man. I still want to put the odds sort of 50-50 on a Karrion Kross retention and a Karrion Kross title loss here. If Kross does lose, or lose the belt, I don't see him getting pinned still. I think he'll come out clean from the match if he is going to lose. Just a feeling. Especially if he is going to be doing any sort of lateralness.
Yeah, we got to keep his character strong. And I think that's part of why they booked this match, is if they are going to pull the title off of him now, questions remaining about whether they're going to do it or not. This is the perfect match to do it. He doesn't have to take the loss. He can still look like a monster, and he can roll on to Raw or SmackDown and reign terror there.
TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, officially on the paper, the prediction, I'm gonna put down Karrion Kross retains, just because I can't agree with you on every single match. So I got to pick one to go separate. It's my one. And of course, I'm copping out and taking the easiest possible prediction of, just Karrion Kross keeps it. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I went out on a limb. The limb may snap, but we'll see next week.
We will see next week. Either we will both laugh because Johnny Gargano wins, or we will both cry.
We won't laugh. We will cry if Johnny Gargano wins.
Look, it'll be unexpected, I'll give them that. But that's all I'll give them. Alrighty, well, that has been NXT TakeOver in your house. All of the 5 matches that we know as of time of recording. There might be a pre-show match thrown on there, which unfortunately we can't chat about because it has not been announced yet. But that means that it's time to go into our entrance theme this week. And, well, it's Mick Foley's entrance theme. And that's going to be planned for you right about now. Benjamin Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and now we're going to hit the red and blue brands. We've done a little recap of NXT, and I'm going to open up the floor. What do you want to talk about from Raw or SmackDown this week? We got about 15 to 13 minutes to fill up here.
Let's start with, how about the Tribal Chief destroying Dominic Mysterio?
Yeah, so we knew the Usos had a SmackDown Tag Team title match against the Mysterios. Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to capture the titles, mainly because it was a little referee mistake there. And yeah, it led to Reigns being a little angry.
Yeah, and then they had a second title match, and it looked like they were going to lose, the Usos. and Roman Reigns comes out and cleans up their mistake. And for the third year in a row, Dominic Mysterio just gets absolutely demolished.
That's his role, right?
First it was Brock. Then it was Seth, and now Roman. So at least in terms of getting demolished, you're getting demolished by the top 3 stars in the company, whose job is to demolish people. So yeah, that was interesting. I think it'll lead to a Universal title match between Roman and Ray, which means our tag team titles will be tied up for the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because there's a bunch of titles, so they can take the other matches. Plus, it could plant a seed for a small bomb to blow up the tag team of Ray and Dominic later on in the road. Because Dominic may want to go after Roman and Ray step in and stop him. And that just may field a tiny bit of mistrust between the younger Mysterio. Like his father doesn't trust him to be able to handle their job or something. To be fair, he tried to handle their work last year and failed miserably. So I can't really blame it. And Ray has all the experience that you could ask for, because he's been doing this for 30 years almost. So, and I think it would be very interesting to see a heel Dominic a couple months from now, maybe even joining the tribal chief.
Yeah.
And be like, he acknowledges Roman. That would be insane. Of course, the titles would have to come off of Ray and Dominic before that happens. But it probably means the Usos would end up winning them.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a tough one. To see what they do with those titles, just because they are locked up a little bit. If the titles weren't as locked up, I guess, with the Mysterios, we could, hypothesize and throw out a lot more crazy ideas. But unfortunately, they are a little locked up, and that just makes it a little bit harder for us to, I guess, fantasy book where it's going and everything like that. Because in theory, right, if Dominic does turn or has to acknowledge the tribal chief or anything like that, you've got, Jey Uso and Dominic acknowledging, and Rey Mysterio and Jimmy Uso still refusing to acknowledge. So you've kind of got 2 tag teams split across this line. And personally, I wouldn't mind seeing a Dominic and Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso and Rey Mysterio matchup.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But the whole thing with Roman here, it just adds more layers to his character, which is, we've said for months, is easily the best character WWE has right now. And it's bringing more elements that they can play with, more chess pieces. Ray and Dominic are perfect foils for the Usos, and Roman, you have the Uso that doesn't want to acknowledge Roman.
Yeah. That's
also there. And it's like, this is the perfect building blocks for the story. So, we'll see. But I am almost certain we will get Ray and Dominic at Hell in a Cell. And then if they continue the storyline or they do something with Dominic going forward, we'll see. Or if they'll spin the titles out because of the titles, we'll see that as well. Or if we see the Usos claim the titles on SmackDown the week after, or something. We'll see where they go. But it's definitely an interesting setup.
Yeah, because I guess any sort of title match from here on out is going to be, marred by the fact that Dominic will still be recovering from this beating, and Ray would still be recovering from whatever beating after Hell in a Cell if he gets that Universal title match. So probably a bit easier for the Usos to win.
I think so.
What else do we have? Scrolly. Let's just go to the Raw Tag Team division, since we've been talking a little bit about the SmackDown Tag Team division. The Miz is back. He recovered from his zombie attack, but unfortunately can't wrestle. And John Morrison got to enter the tag team battle royal to figure out who the number one contender is going to be.
Well, the Viking Raiders won the battle royal, so I assume, yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. The Viking Raiders managed to overcome. The last three were New Day, RK Bro, and Viking Raiders. But ultimately, the Viking Raiders ended up defeating the other two teams and are going to probably march on, presumably to a loss against Style and Omos.
Yeah, because I do think Team RKO Bro are the team to bring down AJ and Omos. But anything is possible. The Viking Raiders are definitely they've already been champions, and they're definitely in a position of strength where they could match up with Omos' strength, because they're pretty strong dudes.
Yeah,
they're big dudes too. So if there is a tag team outside of RK Bro that could bring down Styles and Omos, it's this one. So I'm not going to go out fully on the limb that they'll beat them, but there's a potential for it.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
More or less of a Dolph Ziggler's chance. A little bit more? Skosh more?
Yeah.
Pinch more?
I'd say there's a fairly good chance. I mean, it's like 30-40%.
That sounds like a good plan then. But yeah, that all it took was that one sort of battle royal match at the start of Raw to sort of show you, hey, Raw does have a tag team division. And then if you move into sort of their main event division, as much as we don't want to see Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre one more time, we're still hoping this is the one last time, and it is gonna be in the cell as we'd hoped.
Yeah, that should mark the end all be all, because the stipulation is that if Lashley wins, Drew McIntyre can no longer compete for the WWE Championship as long as Bobby Lashley is champion.
Which definitely sort of adds a layer on top, right? Because now there's going to be some sort of desperateness from Drew McIntyre. He needs to get it. He needs to get the win now. But ultimately, I still see Bobby walking out with the title.
I do as well, because I don't think Drew needs it again. But I've seen crazier things happen, and I'm still not on board with an idea that I have thrown around in my head right now that I don't particularly want to see happen, that I think will happen.
Put it into the universe.
Drew McIntyre, Mr. Money in the Bank.
Oh no. Take it out of the universe. Take it out of the universe. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. Just, it's easier for my life if I forget that you ever said that. And then we got probably, if I'm doing some quick math in my head, about 2 minutes left on the show. Is there any one other topic you want to talk about from Raw or SmackDown that we can slide on in here?
How about our girl Nikki?
She keeps
let's talk
on
about
rolling.
The win. Yeah. Yep. She got a win over the Queen and our Raw Women's Champion in a tag team match with Asuka, of all people. I think we may see Nikki get added to the match.
Okay.
It's very possible. It's unlikely she'll win the title, but it would be a very interesting match to see Nikki Cross face off with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair.
Especially going from basically zero to hero, right? Like, she wasn't featured at all, and then all of a sudden she's just catapulted back into this feud. She's been around here. She's technically beaten, I believe, Rhea and Charlotte, and now both of them in a tag team match, if memory serves. So, she's got the rights.
Yeah, so it's definitely a position we're in here, where it's like we're rooting for somebody who we haven't seen in a while, that we liked to begin with, and we just want to see them do something, and have them in a match with the top woman and the current champion would just be icing on the cake, even if she doesn't win, which we don't expect her to, because of how new Rhea is as champion. But I mean, we would lose our minds if she actually pulled that off.
Yeah.
If she won the title.
I imagine if it turned into a triple threat, it would be a Rhea pins Nikki kind of situation to extend the Charlotte Rhea out a little bit longer, but still give Nikki her time in the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably what will happen. But we will be, metaphorically, popping champagne on air if Nikki wins.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, that's all we've got time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRNDup, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRNDup, or our YouTube page, youtube.com/WrestlingRNDup. And we'll see you next week with the results from NXT Takeover in your house. And I believe, if I can math correctly, a preview of Hell in a Cell in full, top to bottom.
From the look on their face, it's like the prize right in front of my eyes. And taking the sky's the limit, got no time.